There's these different styles of red steel players. There's the what I call the D'Artagnan, right? There's this guy, right? And there's the Conan. There's a The main message I wanted to convey was the two main ideas. The first one is we were very surprised at how difficult it is for humans to learn new physical movements. If you think about it, if you push a button, right? People have been pushing a button their whole life, and it's very, very hard to mess that up, right? It's pretty easy to push a button or to move a stick around, right? It's a skill. It's a little bit harder to move a stick, but it's still pretty straightforward. The most important feature of a motion control device is that there's no rails. You can just do whatever you want to with it, and so it's completely possible to mess it up, to do the wrong thing with just the basic motion. Swing means in red steel, draw your arm back, first of all, right? Go like this. We have a tutorial. Our first tutorial in Red Steel 2 is this, draw your arm back, just do that. And then we get a good job, you passed the tutorial, just to do that, right? We saw this with Red Steel, that there were many players who were frustrated to have to do the move, to have to prove this move repeatedly because they believed that they were already competent. They're like, I don't need this. This isn't for me. I'm a hardcore gamer. I know what I'm doing. I don't need this. But what we found, what we discovered is, even those players, even though they're fast learners, and even though they are very, very quick and they're very adept, if we didn't require them to repeat it 3 times minimum, and sometimes 5 times, right? Those players would forget it in combat. They would get into combat and they would forget everything we had taught them. And then they would turn around and say, why doesn't your game work? There's this weird idea floating around that humans are inherently competent physically, that humans have this natural ability to just do something automatically, which is a bizarre idea. It's a bizarre idea. I have in my presentation a slide that demonstrates the breakdown of a golf swing. And the point that I make is, you know, the swing that golfers make, that, right? That one motion has an entire industry of trainers, of publications, DVDs, books, masters. You know, there are people whose entire livelihoods have come from teaching people how to make that motion, right? So if I said to you, you know, well, of course you could do a golf swing. That's a natural. Well, no, you can't. Right? You have to be taught how to make a golf swing. It's very hard. It's very complex, right? You need a trainer. And so that's my message here to game developers, and what I'm hoping to say to is, we have this bizarre idea that because we've taken the control away, that now suddenly everyone should be competent. The way people become competent in physical motion is through training. What that means is that designers must learn to become instructors. We must learn to become teachers. We must learn to teach our audience how to make physical motions in the same way that a karate instructor will teach, or that a dance instructor will teach, or that a golf instructor will teach. Right? We have to learn how to teach, how to become teachers. And the second thing I wanted to convey was the idea that we learned, we had expectations going in that audiences would be excited to try out this new physical style of activity, and while we were right, we were also surprised to learn that there is a small percentage of people who are actually excited to exert themselves, that think that exercise is fun, that really want to get out there and do something physical, that will stand up. That's the issue. That believe that standing up in their living room for entertainment is okay. It's one thing to sit down and play Wii Sports Resort, right? You can play Wii Sports Resort sitting down, no problem, right? Red Steel, it's harder. You can do it, but the game is really built for you to stand up and really take it on, in the same way that Dance Dance Revolution is designed for you to stand up. The bonus at the end, what I wanted to say was, I think that the future of motion control as a technology, it can be very, very cool, but it depends on hardware manufacturers deciding to include motion control standard in the box with every machine. Today, it's an add-on device, and that limits the audience, and that limits our potential profit. That limits our capacity to be successful, right? And so I'm very excited to see a world in which the Microsofts and the Sonys and the Nintendos of the world include standard in every box their core motion control technologies instead of having it as an add-on. That's my plea to the hardware manufacturers. Please, 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 if you're listening, put it in the box.